All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time you're tuning into this video, just make sure that it is good. My name is Game Boy Rob, and today, ooh, I have some bad news. Today, there was a patch. There was a patch to Legends of Runeterra. There's an in-game update, right? This was one that was very hyped up. This is one that a lot of people were very excited for. People were definitely hoping that in this patch we might see a nerf to Twisted Fate. We might see a nerf to some Targon cards. We might see a nerf to the Burblefish, right? Fizz. Maybe the top decks would be toned down a notch and we'd get a fresh shakeup to this game. Maybe Shurima would be a bit more of a powerhouse region and all that good stuff, right? Right? Well, let's take a look at the patch notes. In case you guys haven't seen it yet, let's just take a look at the patch. There it is. Here it is. This is the patch. There are no balance changes. And they say this in their little explanatory blurb here. They say the Shuriman Desert is vast and we're making sure we're prepared for the long trek through it. To the end, patch 2.40 is focused exclusively on bug fixes and miscellaneous quality of life improvements. So unfortunately, we will not be getting any balance changes for probably at least another 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now should be the balance patch that people were hoping would be today, which has made a lot of people pretty upset. People really hoping that the game would be nice and fresh and shaken up today, and that is not the case. In actuality, we're gonna have to deal with this meta for a couple more weeks, and I would like to say that that is not as bad as people are making it out to be. The meta right now is actually extraordinarily diverse. There are like, I played a bunch of games earlier this week. Like before these changes were announced, I played against so many different decks. I played against like, I mean, obviously there's the main culprits. There's Fizz TF, and there's lots of Hevelios decks, and there's Fiora Shen. But then there's like 3 different Shuriman decks that are decent right now. There's Ashe decks that are running around. There's people are experimenting. I've seen like a couple Victor decks. Like there's you can play literally anything right now and do decently well. You'll lose to Twisted Fate Fizz, but you can play anything, you know, and do well against most other things that you run into, right? So the meta right now is actually in a very good spot. So I kind of understand the way that they're doing this patch. It is disappointing, but we need to remember that this game is still more well balanced and better designed than most other probably any other digital card game ever. So try not to get too salty. Don't go writing mean letters to Riot. They're doing their best. There's not that many people working on this game, and this is still a really good game, and I would say we are a little spoiled in the way that they balance this game. So with that out of the way, there is something I wanted to mention in this. Obviously, I mean, in the thing here, they go over the expeditions, yada yada. We don't really care about that. They go over like all the fixed bugs that they have, which is great. I think they fixed Cataclysm. So now Cataclysm works properly. So we can actually play Jarvan decks. We can actually play Lucian Azir properly, and you know, our opponents can't cheat anymore. So that's great. Another Cataclysm bug, and there's lots of other bugs that got fixed. A couple bugs didn't get fixed. The Rite of Negation bug, where it like holds your spell out for the rest of the game, I believe that is not yet fixed, so I hear. So that's an issue. But what I actually wanted to talk about today was this right here. This little thing, a little tiny thing that they mention in miscellaneous, says visual clarity improvements have been made to the process for phasing a moon weapon. A moon weapon, of course, referring to Aphelios and those cards that he can create, right? Visual clarity improvements have been made to the process for phasing a moon weapons. And we're gonna go over what exactly they are talking about today. We're gonna go over what exactly the changes are, because it's a bit, it's worth talking about. I think this is certainly worth talking about. So the deck that we're going to be focusing on today is the third tier 1 deck. Currently, according to the tier list that is made by Swim, if you don't know who Swim is, I'll leave a link below to his channel. But currently there are 3 tier 1 decks. The first one is Fizz Twisted Fate, the second one is Fiora Shen, and the third one is what we're going to be looking at today, which is Aphelios Zoe with Boxtopus. Now, this deck has come in many forms over the past. Mostly it has been a Twisted Fate deck. I don't know what Twisted Fate did to deserve the boot. I did not build this deck. This is a Swim deck. But apparently Twisted Fate has gotten cut, and now we are running Zoe Aphelios with Boxtopus in an Allegiance style shell. So we're running 3 Mountain Scryers, and the only Bilgewater card we have is 3 copies of Boxtopus. Now, the rest of this deck probably looks pretty familiar. We got 3 Duskbringers, 3 Spacey Sketchers, 3 Guiding Touch, 3 Pale Cascade, yada yada yada. We are running 1 Star-Tipped Peak, which I like, I appreciate. I haven't seen this card played since it came out. And again, I didn't build this deck. This is a deck that Swim built, and I'm excited to see a Star-Tipped Peak in it. I would very much like, you know, I like that. The art in this card is excellent. And then we've got 2 Hush, 3 Solari Priestess, 3 Mountain Scryer, 3 Fangs, 3 Veiled Temple, and 3 Star Shaping, right? Yada yada. Pretty standard stuff, Personally, I actually prefer Lunari Priestess over Solari Priestess, so I'm going to switch that out myself just because that's what I prefer. But honestly, they're more or less the same thing. I just prefer Lunari Priestess. So this deck obviously is one of the best decks in the game. It has answers to literally everything. You just want to get out like cheap early things in the early game, get down a Zoe or an Aphelios alongside your Veiled Temple. Everyone knows the power of Veiled Temple, right? As long as this thing is out there, you are always going to have enough mana to play all your cards. You're always your biggest thing is just going to keep getting bigger, which is usually Aphelios. And so it's going to be really hard for your opponent to kill Aphelios, and Aphelios is going to make you infinite value because that's what he does. So this is the deck we're going to be looking at today. This is a very, very good deck for climbing. If you're looking for a deck to climb with, I highly recommend this one. And yeah, let's get into some games, and we can talk about the changes that were made to Aphelios and his moon weapons. So let's get started, and let's do a little bit of explanation, shall we? Okay, so we're up against Trundle Lysandra. All right. So we're obviously going to keep Aphelios. I think I want to mull everything else. Look for Veiled Temple, look for Zoe, yada yada, right? There's our Veiled Temple. And if our hand stays the same as it looks now, and we don't have any other early plays, I was thinking maybe we'd even play Aphelios on turn 3 and then like Veiled Temple on turn 4. Thankfully, we don't have to make a play like that. We drew a Zoe.
I bear a message from... Oh, hey, what's
We're gonna get her in there. We have Pale Cascade in the back, just in case our opponent wants to like Ice Shard us. They don't. Easy peasy. We got a star chart. Okay.
Ages pass.
Yet I remain. Ages pass, yet I remain. So we could go for super cool into Aphelios. That is certainly a play we could make. And against any other deck, I probably would make that play. But, oh wait, they only have 3 mana. Actually, I am gonna make that play. I was gonna say, but that loses to Avalanche. But our opponent kindly tapped down to 3. So actually, I will make that play. Let's do exactly that. And we will take this. Ooh, that Moonglow. These are both super tempting. I think we actually take the Moonglow.
Portal me something cool.
I'm gonna click OK, see if our opponent wants to do anything. Opponent wants to take an attack. Sure, dude. Absolutely. We play Aphelios. And then generally you want to start with Crescendum. And I think that's still true here. We'll start with Crescendum, even though we have a Boxtopus in our hand. So here's what's going on, right? We're gonna start. Oh, how do I plan out this attack? We might play Crescendum into Pale Cascade here to save Aphelios from an avalanche. We would like to play Veiled Temple, but I don't think we can afford it this turn. I think I'm going to attack with Zoe
Let's do it over
and
there.
get an extra star chart before I do anything else. That's also pretty risky. Start with a Moonglow. Let us start with a Moonglow.
Peace in the quiet fell. It's
This will make it
just us.
very difficult for our opponent to kill our Aphelios, and Aphelios is, of course, the most important card that we have. He is what the deck is completely built around. All right, and here we go. So now we're going to play a Moon Weapon, and we're going to see if we can explain what the difference is, right? So in it goes, and as you can see, in the past, you can already see a difference. When you play a Moon Weapon, in the past, you would play it, you'd let go of it like I just did, and while it was sitting out there, you would get two choices. You would get the choice between phasing Calibrum and between phasing Severum, right? And now you don't get that choice. You have to actually commit. You have to actually say, yes, I'm going to play Crescendum. You click OK. Now you get the choice, which, okay, fine. That doesn't really matter. That doesn't really change anything. I will take Calibrum, I think. Yeah, we're gonna take Calibrum this time as a way to like kill that Babbling Bjerg. Actually, we are getting a Boxtopus, which is killing the Babbling Bjerg. I'm gonna take Severum. And we get a Severum right here. Now the difference here for our opponent is that our opponent... Oh, that's new. That also is a new bug that I haven't seen before. Nice, okay.
A crescent path opens before
The difference
us.
here is that my opponent, if he looks over in the side menu, it doesn't say which one I have phased. Right now, in the sidebar, it says summon a 2-cost follower from your deck. If it has Nightfall, activate it, phase Calibrum or Severum, and they don't know which one I phased. I know which one I phased, and they don't get to see. However, this Severum is visible to my opponent. My opponent can see the Severum, just straight up. They just see it. It's just there for them to click on. They can right click on it, they can hover over it, they can do everything. This is just completely visible for my opponent, but they haven't seen it anywhere else. Nowhere else do you get to see what it is. You just see it in your opponent's hand, which is interesting.
Nice to meet you.
Quite interesting. So our opponent plays a Trundle. Now we have to pick what the heck we're doing right now. I think we have some options. I think it's fine to just get down a Veiled Temple. We're gonna miss out. We're gonna like slow down the level up on Aphelios and all that, but that's fine. Let's just get down a Veiled Temple. That's all you really need. Yeah, and we take 4 and we don't care. We do not care about taking 4, not even in the slightest. So now, hopefully I can show this turn why this matters and why I decided to make a whole video sort of dedicated to talking about this. Is when you play when I play this Severum, and hold on, let me make sure that's actually what I want to do. It is. Actually, I think we're gonna play Veiled Temple first. We're gonna play this. We're gonna play this Veiled Temple first, which means I probably won't be able to showcase it quite yet. We'll get it eventually, though. We'll get it eventually. So we're gonna go Veiled Temple first to get a ton of mana out this turn. And actually, yeah, I should be able to showcase what I'm talking about here. Because when I play this Severum, again, I'll immediately get whatever I phase, which in this case will probably be... Which in this case will probably be a... Ooh, I could go Infernum. Yeah, I think we're actually taking Infernum. So we face an Infernum, and Infernum is now in our hand, right?
From
Normal
darkness,
stuff.
light.
Our opponent couldn't see what we phased until it happened, but now that there's an Infernum in our hand, they can see that, right? But now, if I play this Infernum, and I click OK, and I phase whatever I want. I'm gonna phase Crescendum, you know, because we like Boxtopusses. I'm gonna phase Crescendum. My opponent doesn't know. See, this is the difference between what was happening before and what is happening now. Is right now,
I am with you.
my opponent has no way of knowing what I phased. And that can matter. Right? That can matter. Because he doesn't know if I have the power of, like, next turn phasing a Calibrum or phasing a Crescendum. It's one of the two, and he doesn't know. I don't think we attack with Boxtopus or anything like that. I'm just gonna attack with Aphelios here.
Ready the torches.
Of course, my opponent blocks. I don't even know why he would block like that. We go to full health. Our opponent plays an Ice Shard. Sure thing, dude. We might save our Boxtopus here. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Sure. Why not? So now, next turn, my opponent doesn't know what I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play a Moon Weapon, but he doesn't get to know what it is until I play 2 cards and then get it, and then it's in my hand, and then I can play it. Which means that sometimes you can get a Moon Weapon and play it without ever giving your opponent the information. And for example,
Moonlight has illuminated
next turn,
your fate,
right?
Aphelios.
This Ice Shard's gonna resolve eventually, right? And my Aphelios will lose his spell shield, yada yada yada. We just have to wait for our opponent to click OK. But the thing that I could do is next turn I could play this Duskbringer, right? And then, you know, my opponent would get a chance to do whatever they want to do, and then we could play the Dusk Petal Dust, and Aphelios would make my Moon Weapon. And then I could play the Moon Weapon. And my opponent never actually got to use that information.
Stinging cold.
Right? So I phased, and if I remember right, and you actually have to remember as well, because again, you can't check what you phased either. I believe I phased a Crescendum, because we like Boxtopusses. But I don't, you know, my opponent, for all my opponent knows, I might have a Calibrum. You know, I might be able to play a Calibrum at any moment. And that's different, you know? That is different. It's not a huge deal, but there are certain cases in which this can kind of matter. You know, this is something that can impact games. And thus, I'm actually comfortable in saying that this is a very slight, very minor buff to Aphelios. That's right. Aphelios in the latest patch, that didn't do anything, except fix bugs, they actually did a very, very small buff to Aphelios. I think that's actually a fair statement. That is actually fair to say.
We were peaceful.
That's not like me trying to like make a big deal out of anything. That's not me like trying to clickbait or like troll or anything like that. That's actually just true. It's not like a huge deal. It probably won't matter in most games, right? But it is something that is different, and you can now bluff certain Moon Weapons. See, like right here, my opponent doesn't know what Moon Weapon I have. I'm gonna play Dusk Petal Dust, and I probably should have done something to spend my mana a little bit better there, but now I can just play this, and they never had any way of knowing what exactly this was until I played it. By the same token, they don't know what I'm going to make next. I'm gonna make a Severum, but they don't get to know that. My opponent doesn't know that I have phased a Severum.
If you
I
fall
still
through
might have a
one thing,
Calibrum.
Fel, let it be my light.
Right? So like, that's just how this game works now, apparently. So it's something to be aware of, something for you guys to keep in mind. Now we're gonna keep playing this out. Ooh, I do enjoy the Supernova. Oh, I do enjoy the Supernova.
Calm mind and open heart greet the night.
Ruination? Ah, my opponent plays Ruination. Fair enough. I should have probably played around that. I haven't been paying too much attention to my actual plays. That's not ideal. I actually can't even, like, get my Moon Weapon or anything. Yeah, we probably should have taken a pass in there somewhere. That's okay. I'm gonna get down my star-tipped peak.
Night flowers upon my blade.
And we'll still be good to go. We're still more than set for this game, most likely, especially with this supernova here. Let us make. Ooh, there's a couple good options here. Equinox completely shuts down the Watcher, which is funny. I actually think we take it. We actually take Equinox just for that reason. But yeah, as far as the deck goes, this deck is not exactly new. The fact that it runs Zoe instead of Twisted Fate is new, but the basic deck plan is kind of the same. It just, you know, play lots of stuff, outvalue your opponent forever, and win. Use Veiled Temple. Like, look, we just gained mana by playing this Boxtopus. This Boxtopus just gained us mana by playing it because that's how Veiled Temple works. We're gonna get a million invoked cards. We're gonna get 2 off of this star-tipped peak, and we're just kind of gonna outvalue our opponent forever.
No more hiding.
So our opponent plays a box. The box. Okay, fair enough. We're gonna save our Boxtopus. We can actually save it with Star Shaping, which is funny. I think I'm actually gonna do that. I think I'm actually gonna save it with Star Shaping, just so I can get Star Shaping in there. And then I would love a Living Legends. I don't know about you guys, but I do enjoy me a good Living Legends from time to time. So we'll take that. Okay, double box. Okay, double boxes. Fair enough. Boxtopus goes down. A Serpent and a Trickster. Very nice.
You can see the Demacian border.
I see the Demacian border from here. I'm gonna lose our dust here. Ooh, how many Equinoxes do we need? Probably not that many. I think I'm just gonna take the second Trickster. I kind of like the Trickster here. I don't think we need that many Equinoxes, especially since we already have a Supernova.
My constellation.
Okay, our opponent plays Entreat, draws a champion. We're gonna get down Trickster number 1, which will become a 5/5 with Elusive, by the way. Just like that.
These are troll lands.
Our opponent plays Trundle number 2, and he is gonna level up both his champions here in a minute. I could literally go for Living Legends if I wanted to, but I don't think I quite want to. We're just gonna play the second Trickster.
In Avarosa's name.
In Avarosa's name, sure. Absolutely. I might even play Pale Cascade simply for the card draw. I think I'm going to. I think I'm actually going to do that. Just because I need to cycle a card. Ooh, and we find a Fangs. I will play a Fangs. And I mean, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's basically lethal right there. That's more or less lethal that we have on our opponent with Tricksters, which is funny. Yeah, if we play Trickster next turn and then we play like the Serpent and we give +1/+1 or +2/+2 to this Trickster, we actually just threaten lethal. He probably has an answer. He probably has like a Frostbite or something. But it's an answer. it's a threaten, right? It threatens lethal, so we're probably gonna go for that play. Okay. So my opponent probably wants to play Ice Pillar here.
Welcome to the tipsy hour.
Or not. I mean, I'm sure he wanted to play Ice Pillar, but we prevented him from doing that, which is nice. It's good for us. So we have 5 or 7, 10, 13. We're threatening 13 damage here, which is just absurd, honestly. Honestly, just absurd. We're gonna play a Guiding Touch. And then honestly, we could even go for Living Legends this turn if we wanted to. Which is pretty silly. Pretty silly. We might do it. We might go for Living Legends. We might go for Supernova. We have a million options. Our opponent has to do some stuff first. Okay, he goes for another heal. Maybe we will. Yeah, I actually think this is a perfectly good time to go for Living Legends. In fact, we can even start replacing our Veiled Temples here. We don't really need them anymore. And we have a third one in our hand, right? So I think Living Legends is the play to go for now. Ooh, look at all these cards. Look at all these cards. Fantastic. So our board is completely full. So we may as well just go for a couple Falling Comets. Let's take out, or I guess just one Falling Comet. We could even take out the Frozen Thrall, which might actually be a really good play because it takes out it stops Lysandra from leveling up next turn. He has to play the Ice Pillar, then he can play Lysandra. And then if he has the Frozen, and if he has the Spectral Matron, I guess he still has the Watcher. But I just think this 8/8 is probably just more important than Trundle here. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that is a-okay. We'll Moonsilver down this Supernova here. And then I guess we just let the rest discard. We don't really need the Charger. It's not really better than anything we already have. It's not really better than the last Veiled Temple. So I think we just end round from there. So what my plan here is, by the way, my plan here is he's probably going to play Ice Pillar. And then he will not be able to also play Spectral Matron into a Watcher, right? He just leveled up both his champions. If he also manages to play a Lysandra and get the Watcher in his hand, he won't be able to Spectral Matron the Watcher because he's out of board space, which means he'll probably try to sacrifice at least one of his Ice Pillars to my board. That's probably his plan. We can pass. Obviously, we have 13 plus damage in elusives that is threatening his Nexus, so we can we can definitely just pass and wait for him to do something. Okay, so he's clearing up board space here.
Get ready for a beatdown.
Clearing up board space here. Ooh, 10. Ooh, that's a lot. So he just got +5. So 1, 2. So he has 3 cards in his hand that cost 8 or more. Whoa. That's interesting. So we can assume he's got at least 1 Spectral Matron, probably more than 1.
But I'm king.
Yeah, let's just play our other Veiled Temple. Just get our Veiled Temple back in there. Why not? There's Lysandra.
I will remind the world of true power.
So our opponent currently has a Watcher in his hand, along with 3 cards that cost 8 or more. So I'm thinking 2 Spectral Matrons and a Ruination. That's my best guess.
They forced us to choose death or the blade.
They forced us to choose death or the blade. We're gonna see how big we can get this Trickster before we do anything, but this Supernova Equinox combo is dedicated entirely to undoing the Watchers, right?
Embrace the cold.
That is the entire play. Ooh. Shoot, I should have kept that move. Oh man, I really should have kept that Dusk Petal Dust. Oh, I did not expect that. Oh, I did not expect that. Ooh, okay. All right, so new plan. We might need to play Equinox to create something with Aphelios here. That is likely a better plan. That is likely a better plan. So by playing this Equinox first, we get an extra moon weapon from Aphelios. The 2-1 was dying to the Ice Shard anyway, so it's not like his life was helping us in any way. And we're going to take... Oh, this is a really interesting turn. This is a very interesting turn. We can't actually play 2 cards this turn, so we only get to have 1. And I think that 1 needs to be Calibrum.
As darkness falls, the moon rises.
So we make a really big Trickster. Our opponent likely might not have anything that can deal with this Trickster, since we know that he has 3 cards in his hand that cost 8 or more. 1, 2, 3. Nothing 8 or more is going to really deal with this unless he ruinates me. So he needs to either have just top decked a Trickster. Oops, put that here, please. Or a Trickster. Top decked 3 Sisters, or have already been saving one. Both of which are certainly possible. But we're gonna attack like this. So he needs to do something about this. Okay, he has a Withering Wail. That does save him. That does save him. All right, fair enough. Okay, and now Ice Shard. Of course, of course.
Feel the power of true ice.
Absolutely. I don't know why he didn't do that a second ago to prevent my lifesteal, but it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to play this Calibrum right here, and we're going to phase Gravitum. And my opponent won't know that. My opponent will not be aware that I just phased a Gravitum, right? But I'm going to get it.
You will do as I command.
I'm going to get it here, and now my opponent can see it. So now my opponent sees a Gravitum. And he plays Spectral Matron.
Is everyone okay?
Gets a fake Watcher that we stun. I'm like, nice Watcher, bro. Very cool. Very cool. And then we will take... Since we are getting it this turn, I suppose we will take the Crescendum. So we stun the Watcher. Ooh, that was a good play. That's a good play. I can't stop that. Aphelios dies here. I cannot do anything about that, which means I don't get the next
Stinging cold.
moon weapon. I don't know why the moon weapons also have a glitch where they sit on the middle of the board like that. That's a little frustrating.
At last, they awaken.
At last, they awaken. So obviously, we're going to obliterate that. We're also going to obliterate probably Lysandra. I am tired of these ice shards. More than I care about the 6/5. I think we just want to get rid of the tough Nexus. The only way my opponent can deal with this is if they have another Lysandra and they can entomb my Trickster. That's literally the only chance they have of preventing this from happening. And as we know, they probably don't have that. So, and what we know based on Trundle's intel, right? They've only played one of their 8 mana cards. So they still have 2 things that cost 8 mana or more, so they probably don't have a Lysandra. Okay, we take 6. No problem. We're Targon. We don't care. Our Nexus doesn't matter. We play the Fangs. We get another Trickster. And that should be game. Watchers are cool. Watchers are cool and all, but like, we're Targon, right? We don't care. And we could play Zoe, but Ruination is scary, so we just attack and we get the win. And we get the win. So, yeah, this is one of the best decks in the game right now. If you're looking for a deck to climb with, I highly recommend this one, but be aware the games take forever. That was one game. I've been recording for 35 minutes, and I mean, I know I talked a lot before I started playing the game, but that was one game. And I think I'm gonna call the video there. I think we're gonna end it there. This is a very, very powerful deck. I did not, as a reminder, I did not build this deck. All credit goes to Swim for creating it and designing it, I think, as far as I'm aware. I got it straight from his tier list. I literally copied it card for card and then swapped out 3 Lunari Priestesses for 3 Solari Priestesses. But yeah, so there you have it. The patch yesterday, or today, I guess, only changed bugs. It only fixed a couple bugs and didn't do anything else. And to say that it gave a slight buff to Aphelios is not untrue. To say that Aphelios had a minor buff this patch is actually true. That's actually confirmed. They slightly buffed Aphelios this patch. So make of that what you will. Today on stream, I think at least 60% of the games I played on ladder were against Aphelios decks. I don't know if those two things are related or what, but yeah, if you're looking to win games, if you're looking to climb, this guy is probably the card for you, and this is probably the deck for you. So without, you know, that's all I really had to say. That's all I really wanted to do with this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. I hope I was able to explain the UI differences with this video. If you liked, leave a like, be sure to subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and let me know if this was a helpful video, if I just talked far too long and was too long-winded about it all. Just let me know. I'd love the feedback. So yeah, I'll stop blabbering on now, and I will see you guys